3. Hello, how you doing?
Oh, yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, excellent. Guys, we are today having Facebook Live with Taylor Wynn, who's currently located in Exeter right now, and we're going to kind of come as to why you're there. For those that haven't met me before, I'm Ben Hesketh. I'm one of the TEFL Heaven team, and I'll be the one conducting this Facebook Live interview with Taylor Wynn this morning. Taylor, thank you very much for taking the morning off work to be able to do this interview with us. We greatly appreciate it.
No worries, that's fine.
Excellent. So Taylor, it kind of feels like we've gone a little bit full circle because I actually conducted your interview originally for TEFL Heaven.
Yeah.
Was it nearly 3 years ago? About 3 years ago now.
Yeah,
and
right, yeah.
You still look the spitting image of Luke's.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you were sort of adamant that I looked like Luke Skywalker. I'd never had that at the time, but yeah, that's been a prevalent theme actually. A lot of people have said that now. So. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel
it's
about
nice to know that I'm not the only one. But what makes it even spookier is the fact that you have a twin sister as well.
I do, yeah. Yeah, it's all adding up.
It is all adding up. I'm just waiting to hear or see Chewbacca in the background. But anyway, so you did our course on the island of Krabi in Thailand in September 2014. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, September into October sort of thing, yeah.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So, tell us about. Firstly, why did you want to teach English abroad? Like, what was your? What I really want to understand, what people want to understand, is what was your desire? Like, what did you want to get from this experience?
Okay. Cool. So, in the final year of my degree, I studied English language and linguistics at University West of England in Bristol, and I really liked the subject. So, I really liked English, and I was okay at English as well. I was doing well. So, but I've never been a person who sort of known what I wanted to do, sort of as a next step all the time. So, it was a case of just looking around to see what my options were. And actually, Ben, you came into the university to give a talk about TEFL Heaven, and I just attended that with a mate. Right. And so that got me thinking, like, that's certainly an option. I was also thinking about just going straight into like a PGCE, do some teaching it in the UK. But having deliberated for quite a long time, I thought, no, it'd be better to go out to Thailand with TEFL Heaven and sort of get a feel for what it might be like to actually just stand in front of a large group of students. Completely different teaching out there than it is in the UK, I'd imagine. But just get a feel for it, see what it's like to manage and teach a large group like that. So that's really, once I'd been doing a lot of thinking, I sort of made my decision. But that was the main sort of aim. So I guess I was looking to see whether or not I'd enjoy teaching in the long term, but also just to do something new. I quite like doing new things. So
absolutely. Yeah, variety is the spice of life for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, that was your goal, was to go out and establish, to see if this was a direction you wanted to go in, and kind of what was the result of that? What did you come away with?
So sorry, at the result of the very end of the whole teaching thing in Thailand.
Yeah, did you feel like you fulfilled that desire to sort of wanted to do as a next step? And because I know you've done a few things in education since, and we're going to talk about that further on. But yeah, I just wanted to know if you kind of feel like you fulfilled that desire. Yeah,
I did. Yeah, I had a few sort of questions going out there, and I feel by the end of it, I answered most of them. And what I really don't want to do in this interview is fill it with cliches about how it's changed me as a person and stuff. But I'm
going to ask you.
I wanted to. But no, yeah, I feel that the one term, the teaching term that I spent out there was really valuable, and actually, yeah, I got a lot of direction from it in terms of where I want to go after that. What I should be doing, if I should be doing anything, where should it be, and what should it be. So, yeah, I definitely answered a lot of questions, and it did give me the direction that I was kind of aiming to get before I went.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, Grant. Well, that's good. I mean, it shows a good investment of time and energy. So perfect. Yeah. So you could have potentially applied for lots of different locations. Why did you want to go to Thailand? It's such a popular place.
Yeah. So Thailand for me is a place I always wanted to go. Just whether it be a holiday or whatever. I'm from Cornwall originally, and I just like the coast and I like the beach, and I don't need to go on about it, but there are a lot of pictures of Thailand on the internet, and you see them and you think, I wouldn't mind going there. That, of course, wasn't the only reason. Like, I've got family, friends and stuff who've been out there a lot, and friends as well who I knew sort of had lived out there for a long time, and I thought I sort of felt that was the only place I'd sort of like to go at that stage. So I'm not entirely sure why I was so set on it, but I didn't really even think of the other locations at the time. I was just Thailand it is. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of the time when we speak to people on the phone or when I speak to people over interviews, they often have a place in mind, and we get some people come to us and they're kind of like, well, I don't mind where I go, or I'm thinking of. I think the majority of people like set on one location. Somehow it's captured their imagination and they just want to be there. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, like you said, I was just set on it. So I'm not sure why, but I just hadn't really thought about anywhere else. And actually, I think even things like the presentation you were doing, I think we looked at an example from Thailand of I think it was actually a clip of Mike teaching at a class in Thailand. I think
that's right. Yeah, battleships.
Well, actually, yeah, battleships. Yeah, teaching extraordinarily well, might I add. But he was the whole sort of presentation was an example of Thailand, and so I thought I was already thinking that's a really nice looking sort of place and a thing to do there. So that's probably a part of it as well.
Cool. Okay, so I think help people to understand the reality against their expectation, because a lot of the time when we ask people at the interview, like, what do you know about Thai culture, or what do you think about Thailand, or how do you expect it to be, and most of the time they're pretty bang on, they've done their research, but occasionally people what they think it's going to be like and the reality is quite different. What was your experience in terms of what you thought it was going to be like and what it was as a country?
Well, I knew it was going to be hot, and it was hot as soon as I got there. So that was no, but Thailand, I didn't really know a huge amount about Thailand. I'm not one of those people who've done a load of research on the place. But yeah, I knew it'd be a sort of a massive culture shock. So I knew that sort of arriving into Bangkok, and I knew some things about Bangkok, and it's an incredibly sort of busy place full of squalor and wealth as well, and culture and everything like that. So. But it's sort of, when you get there, it doesn't really strike you like that. You're just there, and your experience is completely different. In such a big place like Bangkok, even when you land in Bangkok, in such a big place, you already feel quite sort of close knit with everyone else around you, whether or not you know them or not. And I've seen a couple of these live interviews, and people, overwhelmingly say this, but the people in Thailand are so friendly and welcoming. You never really, I certainly never felt like sort of a fish out of water, as it were. I felt very much part of everything. So that was nice. The sort of sense of community that Thailand has, even in a big place like Bangkok, and it's sort of the same everywhere that I travelled to in Thailand, where everyone sort of becomes part of it all at once. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I think some people aren't quite prepared for the sense of community that you feel when you're out there, because it's just not something that's really part of modern living in the UK. I don't think, really.
No, you're right. Yeah. I mean, I'm like I said, from a small place down in Cornwall, and you do get a sense of community. But like when I went to university in Bristol, you can see that starts to sort of get lost a little bit, and so you sort of think automatically when you go into a city of that sort of size that there's no chance of that, and so it's quite a welcome surprise when you get there, as to how welcoming it is.
Yeah, it's a nice thing. I always say to people that, when you're living in Thailand, and especially if you're outside of the big cities, I mean, it is prevalent in the cities as well, but certainly it's emphasized when you're outside and you're in these sort of towns and villages, that there's such a strong sense of community that you, as a foreigner, you literally can't do anything without them knowing, because Thais love to talk, they love to gossip, and they especially like to talk about the foreigner or the farang.
Yeah, that's
so you do find you integrated, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, when I got my placement in the school, which was in sort of the north area of Bangkok, it's an area of Bangkok where there are very little farangs, which are like foreigners, and so to the extent where I'd be walking out of my apartment and just everyone's like looking, but they're all coming up to you and sort of whying you, and they just want to know you. They just want to know who you are and what you're doing, and they're just genuine nice people, and so you don't ever feel. So that it'd be very easy to feel out of place there, but you can never feel like that really if you're around Thai people. I felt that.
Yeah. Did you find it easy to make Thai friends over there? Friendships, and what was the difference in your experience with those friendships compared to the friendships you had over there with people from the course or other native English speakers?
Yeah, I found it actually relatively easy to make Thai friends. Partly because I was living in Bangkok, and the social side of things, there's a lot of Thai people out and around and stuff. So, and particularly through my school, like whether it be Thai teachers that they want to invite you out and you go for a drink or for some food and stuff, you automatically make connections and friends, and then you meet their friends and that sort of thing. So finding Thai friends and becoming friends with Thai natives wasn't really an issue. But in terms of the difference of friendship you have between a Thai person and sort of a fellow Farang as well, or those that have gone out with you with TEFL Heaven, or your colleagues, you just get a completely different experience. You just do different things that you sort of are influenced by their way of life and their outlook on life. And so whilst I like being friends with everyone and both my fellow Farangs and the Thai people, you get a completely different sort of experience, I think, from socialising and hanging around with the two different groups there.
Yeah, definitely. I think, when you're with the Thais, it really allows you to kind of get under the skin of the culture, and like you said, really sort of see things through their perspective, and that's that's what you're there for, really. Well, I think it's one of the reasons there is to kind of enlarge your perspective on the world and see it through a different set of eyes. So
that's it. I mean, and when you're sort of hanging out with your Thai friends who you've recently met, and you're automatically inquisitive and you want to find out a bit more about them and a bit more about their culture and how and why they look at life as they do. And so it becomes very easy to have conversations with them. And they're very open people, they're very open in the way they talk about their way of life. So it's quite nice in that sense as well.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that people love about Thailand, is that it's so welcoming. Like they're so open to share things with you. You go to some countries and it's a little bit like, and and that can be difficult if you're moving to a foreign country and you're away from family and friends. But when you go to Thailand, you feel like family away from your family. So it's a nice feeling. Yeah,
it's great. Yeah,
for sure. So just a couple of things that I wanted to mention, or like interviews, because there are a few big things that people always like to know about. So first one is, how did you find living on your salary over there? Some people are concerned because kind of when you translate or convert rather the sort of Thai amount that you're earning, sort of 30,000 baht plus it's about £600 at the moment, which in the UK you think, okay, but in Thailand it's a bit different, right?
It is, yeah. I mean, I know that was something initially I was slightly worried about that, and there's a lot of talk, and I was always sort of like, I don't want to worry about money when I'm there. Like, it's not about money, but you naturally have that concern. God, I'll have to be sort of stringent with my money there. But like I said, I end up living in Bangkok, and that's sort of a more expensive area in terms of living and socializing and everything like that. But £600, which is roughly what was on out there, it really goes a long way. Like you can live extremely comfortably for that and still save a little bit of money as well. I'm quite a social beast as well, so I was spending lots of money on the weekends going around and stuff. But you still manage to keep a bit of money for yourself and enjoy some holiday time in Thailand while you're out there. So though initially it was a bit of a concern, you thought, how's this going to sort of play out? As you get used to it, it really doesn't. It's not an issue really. And certainly, I can imagine the further outside of Bangkok you get, you'll start to free up a bit more money, perhaps. It really depends how you live out there and what you do with your money. So, it was never really a massive issue at all.
That's good to hear. I think for some people, there's definitely a bit of adjustment involved, because like when you first arrive in Thailand, and I'm talking from my own experience. So the courses over there is that people kind of arrive and they go, oh, everything's so cheap. I can buy everything. I can literally probably buy Thailand.
Yeah.
Soon learn, actually, all the small amounts of money add up. And so you do have to be a little bit sensible, but it's good to hear that you kind of manage to, manage it all and make sure you live comfortably.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I mean, when I first got, I sort of was helped to find accommodation with Echo, my agency. And so when I know I was happy to live anywhere, really. I knew I wasn't going to be spending a huge amount of time there. But I got there and my rent was sort of 2,000 baht a month, just over that maybe. I got there and there was no sort of hot water or anything, so I got hot water installed in my accommodation for like less than 1,000 baht. So that started to make me think, okay, this is how far money can go. I've just got sort of heating installed in this entire place for that much money. It was comfortable.
So was it pretty easy getting your accommodation sorted after the training then?
I wouldn't say easy, but it was never a case of I'm panicking now. Once after the training, we were sort of waiting around in Bangkok, and I had about a week and a half in between that, which was the latest it was for anyone. But as soon as I found a school, okay, we're good in finding me accommodation very quickly, and it was useful. Noom helped me find accommodation. It was very useful to have a
legend
to help me. Yeah, a legend. So he is. So
great. Yeah, and obviously you had hot water, so you lived like a king.
Exactly. Yeah.
I used to remember when I was having cold showers, and cold showers are actually really, really nice before you go to bed, because when you're all hot and sticky at the end of the day. But first thing in the morning, oh no. Don't miss those.
Yeah. Cold showers are nice, but it's always nice to have the option of warming up in the shower, actually. So,
so it's nice to know. Actually, I don't think I realised at the time it was an option to get hot water installed.
Well, I sort of asked Noom to ask them, and he was very good. And it was a case of them. The guys from the condo went to Big C and sorted me out and fitted it all. And it was cool. It was very easy and quick.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good to know. Okay. Mentioned a moment ago about the weekends and meeting up with people on the weekend. So tell me a little bit about what you got up to.
So because of the area I was living in, so it was very accessible. I was on the last stop of the MRT, so the Underground, which actually has been extended now. But I was in Bangkok, and it took me about sort of 25 minutes to get into sort of central Bangkok. And I had a lot of friends and colleagues living in and around Bangkok, and so I would often go up and meet up with them on the weekends, or even in the weekday in the evenings to go to a cinema or something. And actually on the weekends, a few times in Bangkok, you have the luxury of all of the transport options are very sort of accessible to you. So there are a few weekends where we'd get in a minivan and go to whether it's Kanchanaburi, just north of Bangkok, or a couple of times where we jump on a plane and go down to Krabi as well, flying to Don Mueang. So it was really accessible and sort of easy to sort something out for the weekend. But most of it was spent in Bangkok, but I was never sort of restricted to Bangkok with my social time.
Oh, that's cool. And so were you meeting up with other people from the course as well on the weekend, or who are you catching up with generally? Yeah,
almost always really. As well as Thai friends who had joined us, who we'd met along the way. We actually made really good friends with some Thai people from the hostel that we were staying in Wee Bangkok. And often they'd join us. A guy called Five would join us. You make such good friends with the group of people that you're training with for your sort of 120-hour course that it's very difficult not to keep in touch with them. If you're sort of in and around them, it's great to meet up with them and actually just see how they're getting on with teaching. Everyone's new to the teaching thing, so it's good to share experiences and talk about that. And we'd often share sort of teaching materials, point people in the right direction. If they found a really good sort of website full of resources, we'd be told about it as well, and then we'd enjoy it.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
That is nice to be able to share experiences, because like you said, everyone's in the same boat, everyone's going through the same thing, and sometimes you make a bit of a breakthrough, or somebody makes a bit of a breakthrough, and you share that and everyone can benefit from it, which is a nice thing. You mentioned flying down to Krabi. I actually wanted to ask you, what did you think of the Krabi location? Because it's Aquamarine resort, which I've stayed at, and it's flipping lovely. Really nice place. What did you think of it?
That was outstanding. It was one of the nicest parts of the experience, really. Like I said, it was called Aquamarine Resort, and it's maybe a sort of 3-minute walk to the beach maximum. And just the people around there, though it's a sort of touristy place, it's never sort of overwhelmed with tourism. And so you can still go into the local bars and stuff, and the people sort of welcome you back, and they'll recognise you. And I know certainly. So when I started my training there, it was my birthday in the first week, and we went to the local bar. It's called Hippie's Bar. It's still going strong down in Krabi, so you should go. I'm sure you've been, Ben.
I know where it is.
And so so sort of everyone went there, and we used to go back sort of every weekend, and some evenings we'd just go there to just get some food and just chill out. But the area itself is just, so nice. There's really nice street food there, and the people are, like everyone, very welcoming. So yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, I particularly liked it. In fact, I don't know if it's just a little bit further. There was a little restaurant that last time I stayed there, I was actually over there with my wife, and the best prawns I've ever had. Man, the seafood, like when you're staying on the coast like that and it's fresh for that day, it's just amazing. And you go and you pick it out of a bucket and you say, "Oh, I want that one." And I mean, the food's outstanding. That's one of the biggest parts of anyone's experience on this program. You know, you'll be eating Thai food every day probably. And it's just lovely. And something to add about Krabi as well is, like, we made very good friends with the guys who sort of owned the bar there, and a lot of us would sort of fly back. So the last sort of 2 weeks of my time in Thailand, I'd finished teaching, had a couple of weeks, 3 weeks to hang around, and I was just straight back down to Krabi, like, and met the guys who had met us on our training program, and they really like sort of the sort of TEFL cohort that come twice a year or every year, whatever it is. And meeting them. So I've actually got a Cornish flag stuck up in that bar. They have flags. Have you really?
So I always take a Cornish flag whenever I travel, and this bar was just sort of riddled with flags from all over the world. And I thought, let's give them my Cornish flag. So if there's any Cornish people watching, get down to Krabi and sign it.
Oh, that's amazing. Do you know what? It's nice to leave a little bit of a legacy somewhere in the world, something that people can remember. Actually, years ago, I coined the phrase septeflers, and septeflers, and about a year later, I saw a picture of it on our Facebook of somebody had scratched it into a piece of wood on the side of a bar in Koh Chang, and I was just like, I remember saying that. So yeah, that's cool. It's nice to have your little legacy somewhere in Thailand.
Yeah, and it gives me an excuse to go back as well, just check up on the flag. So.
Yeah, as if you need one, but yeah, absolutely. So I'm really keen for people to know a little bit about the experience of TEFL Heaven alumni after their training and after their time. You know, some people will go on and extend their stay, some people will come back to other opportunities. So I know a few things, but tell me a little bit about kind of what happened after you came back, and I guess filling that gap between then and now. Okay,
yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd finished teaching in Thailand, and I sort of had wanted to go home for that reason. I thought for sure I'd be back out, but it hasn't worked out that way yet. But I still plan to go out there at some point. But no, yeah. So I finished teaching, gained sort of a wealth of experience in, like I said at the start, just standing up in front of the classroom and actually just speaking to a group of children. I wasn't ever sure if I wanted to go into teaching in the UK, but so when I came back from my TEFL sort of journey, I knew that I wanted to work with sort of young people and work in the education sort of sector. So I went back to Cornwall, and I was in a bit of part-time work, saving up a bit of money for the summer. And then I used my experience to go into a company called Varsity International, where I did some sort of teaching. I was doing English teaching at a residential summer school in Oxford. And it was a very, very similar experience. In that, you know, I had international students from all around the world, sort of from Saudi Arabia, Colombia. And so that experience of teaching that I got in Thailand and sort of having that classroom environment with international students was replicated in Oxford. And I used all my experience from there. And actually most of my teaching materials were all sort of from there. And TEFL Heaven alumni, a girl called Charlotte Sabin, who went on a program with you guys.
Yes.
She sort of spoke to me about it and encouraged me to get on that. So people use that experience quite wisely, actually, if they come home. And it's very easy to use the experience you get from the TEFL program back in the UK. So I did that. That was for a summer. I then went on a ski season, and you know, I'd never really skied before. I did a week of skiing when I was younger. I did a ski season. And then I was looking for work in education. And I've ended up in Exeter. I work at the University of Exeter now in student recruitment and widening participation. So, speaking to young people, getting them to think about becoming involved in higher education. So it's quite a nice job. In terms of the presentation skills that I developed when I was in Thailand, like that's now the main part of my job, is traveling around sort of nationally and delivering presentations and be very difficult, I think, to have done that if had I not sort of thrown myself in at the deep end in Thailand. And if you can stand up in front of a group of sort of Thai children that you've never met before and deliver a lesson, then you can quite easily give a presentation in the UK.
Yeah, wow. It sounds like you've had quite a journey then, really, to get you to this point, and quite a lot's happened, and it's amazing. So how do you feel like this has all impacted you as a person then? It seems like goals and things have changed a bit.
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying at the start, I didn't want to fill this into cliches, but it has definitely changed me as a person. I'll probably get some stick from my friends for these sort of cliches, but yeah, it does change you, and you just look at the world a bit differently, really, when you come back. More than anything, you're almost just a bit more relaxed about everything. Whether or not that's a good thing or not, I think it is. But yeah, Thai people, their way of life rubs off on you, definitely, and there's a reason people always go on about it when they come back from Thailand, and I'm not going to stop doing it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's somewhere, I think once you've been to Thailand, there's always a bit of it in your heart. Like you're never quite the same. That's experience anyway, for sure. It seems to be yours as well.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, and I promise you, I flag up on the wall as soon as I heard I was doing this interview. But I state the Thai flag. My students gave me this in sort of my final lesson with them. So it's just a reminder about Thailand and just how friendly they are, and they really care. The students that you teach, they care about learning English. They really want to be there, and they want to sort of learn English. So if you're there to help them, they treat you very well, and that's sort of replicated. Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, I've got one last question I want to ask then. So if you could jump in a time machine and you could go back to the beginning of this whole journey, what would you do differently? Advice would you give yourself, or how would you prepare yourself differently?
Yeah, okay. I sort of knew I'd be asked
else.
But I was trying to prepare an answer. I think one thing I would give advice, if I were to give advice to someone going out there now, I would just say, it's really not a walk in the park. Like I think sometimes that might be thought by some people that actually teaching it just be really good fun, and it is. But also at the same time, it's hard work. You're planning, you're marking, so that there's some real teaching going on there, and it does vary in terms of what age group you teach. But yeah, my experience, it's hard work. You've got to be prepared to do that hard work. But I think how much you get out of the experience depends on how much effort you put in actually in the classroom, in the school. It depends what you get out of it. So yeah, don't go out there just thinking it's just going to be ideal all the way along. Like there'll be some challenges that you'll have, and I certainly had those. But you can overcome them, and the more you work at it, and the better you become as a teacher, but also sort of the more involved you get in your experience in Thailand.
Yeah, that's great. That's a fantastic insight, and I think it's always the challenges that ultimately make it a better experience, because with every challenge comes a triumph in waiting, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I was. I mean, to give you an example, in the first couple of months, I was really struggling because there was a lot of work, and I was teaching at quite an advanced school. I was teaching sort of 16, 17-year-olds, and I was teaching sort of at some stages sort of argument theory. But I think this is because I did my degree in language and linguistics, and so the school sort of picked up on that. And I loved doing it, but I sort of perhaps initially wasn't prepared for that amount of work. But then once you get into it and you get over it, and you put sort of all your eggs into one basket and work your way through it. So when you're over that hill or that challenge, then the rest is sort of really rewarding work actually as well. You can see the fruits of your labour when the students are coming back and thanking you. And I'm still in contact with students now, so asking me maybe for CV help or anything like that, or how can I study abroad, and so it's useful things like that make you think actually it was worth going through all that to get to that sort of stage.
Yeah, that's great. That's perfect. Well, Taylor, it's been an absolute joy talking to you this morning, and say thank you very much for taking the time. It's been great to hear about your experience and kind of how things have progressed, and how that TEFL Heaven journey has kind of got you to where you are now, ultimately. And who knows what the future holds and where you'll be. But it's great to be working in an educational institution and ultimately helping other people to learn, and that's why we do it. So.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's been good, and yeah. Like I said, I'd round it up by just recommending TEFL to in the marketing sense, but just go for it and give it a try, and I think you'll sort of reap the rewards in the future.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you very much, Taylor. We appreciate that, and thank you again for taking. We'll catch you further down the road.
Yeah, no worries. Cool. Good to speak to you, Ben.
All right. Yeah, good to speak to you too, Taylor. Have a great day.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.